Good morning, traders. This is Shane Scott, the moderator of Newsware's Trade Talk. At Trade Talk, we're providing you with the most up-to-the-minute news on the market, along with the facts, themes, and short-term trading ideas for the day ahead. Joining me today is our trading anchor, Bill Olson, who brings over 30 years of institutional trading knowledge to our program. We're going to get things started with our markets update. U.S. futures are in the green this morning, with S&P futures up 0.37%, Dow futures up 0.47%, and NASDAQ futures up 0.15%. Markets are edging higher this morning, along with the 10-year US Treasury yield, while the dollar has ticked lower against major peers. In spite of what's been rather robust second quarter corporate earnings, for some commentators, the months-long advance in Treasuries is an indicator of a weaker period that lies ahead for economic reopening from the health crisis. Key U.S. jobs data to be released this week will serve as a gauge for the recovery and help to monitor the impact of price pressures ignited by pandemic-related disruption and bottlenecks. In regards to policy, debates on tapering continue, with Fed Governor Christopher Waller saying that he could back a tapering announcement by September if the next two monthly U.S. employment reports keep showing gains. Elsewhere in markets, sentiment improvement in broader markets have helped to reverse earlier losses in crude oil. Over in Europe, stocks extended a record advance with positive earnings from some big players helping to offset concerns over China. The Stoxx 600 moved higher, with energy shares leading modest gains. Tech stocks took a hit, however, with Process NV plunging as much as 5.7% after China's Tencent holdings slumped on fears that authorities will clamp down on online entertainment next. New Chinese pricing probes also weighed on chip makers. Bill, what are you seeing as far as market updates?
Shane, I'm watching the S&Ps. The S&Ps indicate a higher opening. It's a nice positive. You saw that yesterday. S&Ps were up. We had a nice start to the day, and then there was a sell-off later in the day. But today I do expect us to have a nice positive day. I'm looking at my screen. Everything looks green, so that's always a nice positive way to start the morning. A couple items to note. Hey, the market is cautious on this Delta virus. You saw it overseas, especially in Hong Kong, China, and Japan. Those markets are really cautious because of the outbreak continues to show elevated levels. In China, you're also dealing with the regulators. They're really clamping down on the entertainment stock industry, the gaming industry, let's call it. A regulator came out and called it spiritual opium. I mean, that's pretty negative. So I'm a little concerned on the Asian ADRs today. Cryptocurrencies, the SEC is apparently considering oversight and maybe additional regulation there. That is not a positive news for the cryptos. But it's about earnings releases. This is a very strong week for earnings releases. They're going to provide volatility, and but the key economic event for this week is going to be that non-farms payroll report that's coming out on Friday. So right now, keeping my eye on the earnings, Shane.
Let's go ahead and talk about earnings. Bill, tell us how earnings have been doing so far.
I see, it's been a mixed bag, but mixed bag to the positive. Boise Kincaid, that's ticker BCC, boy, Charlie, they beat by $3.28 on higher revenue. You see the stock this morning, it's up 3.7%. Rambus, on the other hand, they missed by 21 cents on lower revenue, and the stock's down 1.15% in the pre-market. Take-Two Interactive, they beat by 41 cents on higher revenue. But I'm looking at the stock, it's down 4% in the pre-market. Columbia Sportswear, that's ticker COLM, Charlie, Oscar, Larry, Michael, they beat by 61 cents on higher revenue. You look at Columbia Sportswear, it's up 4% in the pre-market. Unisys beat by 77 cents. They're up by 6.5% this morning. And Unisys did that on a higher revenue. It's ticker UIS under India Sam. Mosaic, that's ticker MOS, Michael, Oscar, Sam, they beat by 22 cents, but they did it on lower revenue. Stock still up 3.28% this morning. Alibaba, they came out this morning, they beat by 30 cents. They did it on lower revenue. You look at BABA this morning to see how the stock is trading, and I see it's down about 0.5%. Lilly, ticker LLY, they released earnings this morning. They missed by 5 cents. But it was done on higher revenue. So that's interesting. But Lilly's been really peppered with all that positive news around their Alzheimer's drug. Earnings didn't come out as strong as everybody was hoping for, which is why you're seeing the stock down 2.68%, and probably going to be trading lower throughout the day. Clorox, ticker CLX, Charlie, Larry, X-Ray, they missed by 41 cents on lower revenue. Remember, this was really a pandemic play. If you remember last year at this time, Clorox was going to the moon. It was unstoppable, but the CEO quit. He wanted to leave out with the stock on top because he knew that when the pandemic was over, that their earnings were going to be starting to slide. And sure enough, here's a real good picture of that. You missed by 41 cents, lower revenue, and they lowered guidance. Clorox is down 10% in the pre-market. So, overall, it's a mixed bag, but, I like some of the earnings reports that came out. Clorox was predictable. Lilly was predictable. So these are some of the things I was watching for yesterday and this morning, Shane.
Let's give traders some insights as far as upcoming earning announcements.
PSA, Paul Sam Apple. This is an interesting one. Public storage. Remember, this is kind of a play on housing because when people move, they rent storage units, and PSA, public storage, that's their business. Their estimate there is $1.87, and the expected move here is 4.26%. Amgen, ticker AMGN, their EPS estimate is $14.09, and the expected move is 3.49%. We have Activision coming out this afternoon as well. That's ticker ATVI, Apple, Tom, Victor, India. Remember, they're in the same vertical as Take-Two. EPS estimate is 75 cents, and the expected move there is 5.32%. Ring Central, that's ticker RNG, Richard, Nancy, Grace. Earnings estimate there is for 27 cents, and the expected move is 8.21%. Lyft, LYFT. EPS estimate there is for them to lose 24 cents, and the expected move there is 8%. I would have liked to see this stock see a little bit more positivity going into earnings than it has as of late. Roku, that's ticker ROKU, Richard Oscar, Kilo Under. EPS estimate there is 12 cents. Estimates are really wide from a loss to a gain, but the consensus is at 12 cent for their EPS. When they're releasing this afternoon. The expected move here is 9.51% on Roku. So this is going to be a heavily traded one in the aftermarket today and one to keep your eye on.
Moving into our economic reports, Bill, tell us what we're seeing for reports today.
8:55, we get the Johnson Red Book. These are the retail sales signatures weekly. It'll be an interesting read. But at 10 a.m., we get the factory orders. This is a good report to watch. Let's see what they come out with at 10 a.m. this morning. Also of note, at 2 p.m. this afternoon, Fed Governor Michelle Baumann is going to be giving a speech.
Moving into our morning's critical insights, starting off with some acquisition news. Sanofi, ticker SNY, has acquired Translate Bio, ticker TBIO, for $3.2 billion. Wolverine Worldwide, ticker WWW, is set to acquire women's activewear brand Sweaty Betty in a deal valued at $410 million. Marvel, ticker MRVL, is acquiring Innovium, a cloud-based and edge data center company, for $1.1 billion in an all-stock transaction. And PepsiCo, ticker PEP, is set to sell Tropicana, Naked, and other select juice brands across North America and Europe to PAI Partners for $3.3 billion. PepsiCo will continue to retain 39% of non-controlling interests in a newly formed joint venture with the other company. PepsiCo's share price is up 0.17% in pre-market. Elsewhere on the tape, Bausch Health, ticker BHC, plans to pursue an IPO of its Solta medical business, which focuses on medical aesthetics like skin rejuvenation and body contouring solutions. The timing of the IPO is anticipated to occur in the fourth quarter of this year or the first half of 2022. Bausch's share price is down 5.83% in pre-market. News on Eli Lilly, ticker LLY, and Insight, ticker INCY. The companies announced additional results from a late-stage study that showed that their COVID-19 drug reduced the risk of death in patients on mechanical ventilation. Lilly's share price is down 1.89% in pre-market, while Insight is up 1.31%. In other news, the National Health Service of England has selected Motorola, ticker MSI, the company's body camera to be worn by all frontline workers within the ambulance staff in an attempt to increase transparency and safety for its staff. Lastly, for me, one on Logitech, ticker LOGI. Logitech announced on the launch of 2 new earbud models as the first earbuds to be certified by major cloud video conferencing platforms, including Google Meet, Microsoft Teams, and Zoom. Logitech's share price is down 0.4% in pre-market. Bill, what are you seeing as far as this morning's news?
Well, Shane, I have my alerts broken down into sectors, and also for events. And I'm looking for, situations that will really create price catalysts. And when you break your news down into these specific events or industries, you're really able to jump on price action before it gets priced into the stock. So it's a real positive way to view and do research. I'm looking this morning at my FANG alert, which I do every morning. And, financial technology firms have grown to a scale in recent years that they've become important players in traditional areas that have really been handled by the banking institutions. Now, this morning, there are news reports indicating that central banks and various regulators are likely to start imposing oversights into these big tech companies that are involved in, things like, payments and banking information. So you got to keep an eye on this one. This is going to be a big story that's going to continue to gather some steam. I'm looking at Amazon this morning. That's ticker AMZN. A U.S. National Labor Relations Board official is recommending a new union election at the Amazon warehouse in Alabama. Obviously, Amazon's trying to appeal this recommendation. They don't want to continue to be under the threat of unionization. Apple, let's ticker AAPL. I was reading a broker research report this morning that indicated Apple's advertising business could increase over $7 billion by 2023. Facebook, that's ticker FB, their Instagram users suffered a big outage yesterday. It has been restored, but it affected over 6,000 people yesterday during the day. Now going over to my Dow Jones 30 alert, HD, Home Depot, and other major retailers and restaurant chains, they're going to require their employees to be wearing face masks for the foreseeable future. McDonald's, that's ticker MCD, a big thing that I've been talking about is food inflation. And while food inflation is definitely on the rise, the major food outlets, such as McDonald's, have been able to continue to draw customers, as evidenced by their latest sales figures. The smaller food chains is really where you got to worry about food inflation. Boeing, ticker BA, Apple, they're going to be that Starliner capsule that's expected to launch today. Late this morning, early this afternoon. It's going to be their first, launch into space in some time. So that's actually positive news for shares of Boeing this morning. I'm looking over at my option, headlines, and I'm seeing retail stocks. So retail stocks were really in focus yesterday. Kohl's, that's ticker KSS. They saw bullish option activity yesterday. Yet their earnings are not out until August 19th. Levi Strauss, ticker LEVI, Larry Edward Victor India. They also saw bullish option volume yesterday. But their earnings aren't going to be out until October 2nd. American Eagle, that's ticker AEO. The volumes are positive yesterday. Their earnings are coming out on August 25th. So that was kind of interesting to see the retail stocks have such positive option flow going into earnings. Events for today. There's a couple of shareholder events going on. At 9 a.m., we have Spectrum Brands, that's ticker SPB, Sam Paul Loy, and Zerniba Pharmaceuticals, that's ticker ZYNE, Zebra Yellow Nancy Edward. At 10 a.m., we have shareholders meetings from PBH, Prestige Consumer Healthcare, and SKY Skyland Champion Corp. But those are the key events that I'm seeing for news events happening this morning, Shane.
Let's talk about our Trade Talk picks for today. I'm picking one that I spoke about, Motorola Solutions, ticker MSI. This is off the news about NHS of England selecting Motorola to be their body cam for all their frontline ambulance workers. So there's going to be a lot of positivity behind that. They're flat in pre-market right now, but I think that means it's a good time to buy in. So that's my pick. What's yours looking like, Bill?
I'm going with Borg Warner. It's ticker BWA, Boy William Apple. Earnings are due out Wednesday morning. the price for a 6.5% move when the earnings are released. Broker ratings have been positive, raising price targets. The stock is at 48.79, unchanged from the pre-market. But these guys make the components for the electric vehicles, and the EV sales have really been on fire this quarter. Expect them to come out with some positive news related to the EV sales, and anything EV related really does create positive volatility in the stock. So I'm really hyped up on Borg Warner this morning, ticker BWA, and that's my pick for today, Borg Warner.
Moving into what's hot off the press. This is the news that's hitting the tape as we speak, moving the stocks today. Let's get into it. Bill, looking at our headlines, which are the ones we should be letting traders know about?
IVAC, ticker IVAC, India Victor Apple Charlie. This is Intivac. They say that they will not update their strategic review until the board decides on a specific action. GPN, this is global payments. There's a post-earnings sell-off. Citibank just came out, and they're keeping their buy rating on it, and they're still positive on the stock. GPN, Grace Paul Nancy.
GE, ticker GE, and North Star Medical Radioisotopes. They've entered a pact for iodine distribution.
CWH has campaigned worldwide. Charlie William Henry, they reported Q2 earnings of $2.51. Consensus estimates were $2.32.
Pacific Biosciences, ticker BACB, has acquired Circulomics for undisclosed terms.
Victoria's Secrets, that's ticker LB, Larry Boy, Victoria's Secrets complete separation from Bath and Body Works.
Tyson Foods, ticker TSN, is requiring COVID-19 vaccinations for its U.S. workforce.
Signet Jewelers, that's ticker SIG, Sam India Grace. They renegotiated their $1.5 billion asset-based lending facility. That's going to strengthen their balance sheet by removing consumer credit risk.
Westpac Banking, ticker WBK, is close to signing a deal to sell its life insurance business to Japan's Dai-ichi Life Holdings, and a deal that values the division at $1 billion.
That Boeing launch of the capsule to go into space scheduled to blast off at 1:20 p.m. Eastern time.
Anything else interesting for you, Bill?
No, that's all I'm seeing today, Shane.
Same here. So that'll do it for what's hot off the press. Traders, keep in mind the same breaking stories we receive, you can simply by subscribing at newsware.com. Check us out and get a free trial. Moving into our scoreboard, talking about how our picks did from Monday. I had Danaos Corp, ticker DAC, which opened at $67.92 and went as high as $71.77 by 10 a.m. for a 5.66% gain if you caught that momentum. But before closing, it went a bit lower, still higher at $69.49 for a 2.31% gain. So a pretty good move for us. How did yours end up doing, Bill?
I did Boot Barn yesterday. Their earnings are coming out later this week. That's ticker BOOT. Stock opened up at 88.40 and ran to 89.42. Essentially a 1% move. It was positive, but the stock did close lower at 80 to all the way down to 85.73 when the market tanked. But the retailers are still hot, and people are buying shoes. So the shoemakers have been doing really well. So I'm still positive on Boot, ticker BOOT.
Well, that's going to do it for us here at Trade Talk with Traders. You know what to do. Let's get out there. Let's make some green.